read. I already rushed a little bit through it, which is not very good for the understanding. It's better to go slow with each shloka and to dwell on every meaning of it deeper. Then it goes in very interestingly. If it is rushing, kind of, then it is losing some essentials. If you have something to say before Benedetta comes, we can use this time if you like.
No, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you and hear you.
Okay. Juliette was missing. I sent her.
Okay, she's here. Wonderful. So do you have some ideas, some thoughts, or maybe something you would like to clarify with this text, what we already read? We read 7 shlokas, basically, from this very brief Upanishad. It's one of the shortest after Mandukya. Mandukya is the shortest known to us. This is the second one, which is very brief, only 18 shlokas. But they are all very dense in meaning. And some of them are not totally unpacked. For example, second one presents some difficulty in translation, you know. I was not telling you this because I didn't want to bring some additional information, but if you study the text, you will see that it is not everything so clear, you know, as it should be. So even first shloka is very sophisticated in the meaning, hidden meaning, you know. For example, this vasyam, to be clothed, to be worn as a garment, or to be inhabited, is futurum passive voice participle, or necessitatis passive voice. So that means this all is to be inhabited, should be inhabited, or will be inhabited by the Lord. And this meaning is always overlooked in every possible interpretation, except in Sri Aurobindo's, of course. Sri Aurobindo immediately sees this difference. And but for the later following, it is an unsolved riddle, you know. How it can be said that all this is to be inhabited by the Lord, that means it is not. Yeah? That means it is in the process of that colonialization or expansion of the spirit within the material nature.
Vladimir, we were discussing with Alex and I didn't remember exactly. I remember about by that renounced that you were referring to some controversial interpretation, I guess, from Shankara to Sri Aurobindo. But if you could just briefly go back to this by that renounced.
Right, tena tyaktena. That's what Sri Aurobindo translates literally. So tyakta is PPP, what we call participle perfect passive voice. Yes, that is something like participle 2 in English, gone, renounced, made, done, yeah, that participle. So by that renounced, you should enjoy. So it again presents big difficulty. Shankara cannot solve it. What he does, he says, you enjoy yourself with a renunciation. He says, not with that renounce do you enjoy yourself. You see the difference. With that renounce do you enjoy yourself means you enjoy yourself with all that world, being free from it. Having become free from the world, you enjoy it. As the Lord does, because whose wealth is it? The question at the end, and the answer is presumed that it is your wealth as the Lord. So if you behave as the Lord, that means you become free from the object of enjoyment. You can enjoy the whole world. It's given to you, as it is given to the Lord. Makes sense? Or, so if you say you enjoy yourself with renunciation, don't touch anything, because whose wealth is it? It is Lord's wealth, not yours. That means you exclude the individual spirit from the embodiment of the Lord, which is contradictory to the first line, that all this is to be inhabited by the Lord. So in our sense, we have both representatives. We have the Lord, who is to be inhabited within ourselves, our soul, and we have the world within ourselves. All our mental, vital, and physical nature is this world which is to be inhabited by Him. And this process within ourselves is going on. The expansion or the colonialization by the spirit of our nature is going on. We call it evolution of consciousness. But truly speaking, this is this spirit growing within, the Lord growing within His own manifestation. And the idea, don't touch anything, don't grab, don't lust after anything, because whose wealth is it? And the answer is, it's Lord's wealth, that's why I don't grasp it. That is ridiculous. So to say ridiculous, and also not ridiculous, because if you are the nature, then don't grasp, because you will be led only to the desire which will bind you to the consequences of karma. But if you are the Lord, then why should you lust after anything, want anything? Because it's already yours by definition. The Lord is the one who is free from the object of enjoyment and possesses the object of enjoyment in a way which is that he is not dependent on it, whatever happens. So it's like, you can throw this telephone into the this computer into the basket. It is your computer. You don't have to be dependent on it. But if I'm dependent on this computer, if I need it very much, want it, then I become Anisha. And then I have this desire to have it, to possess it, because I depend on it.
So in the architecture of the text, by that is rather referred to what comes after, last not after any man's possession.
By that word, yes, because in the first line, all this is for habitation by the Lord. Whatever exists in this universal motion, whatever moves, by that, whatever moves, you enjoy yourself, having become free from the enjoyment, from the object of enjoyment, as the Lord is. And having become free from the world, you can enjoy it. It's like I started to think in detail in our real experience, especially what it means. For example, you just you pass by and you see beautiful garden. Somebody created a beautiful garden. Yes, put plants, trees, flowers. You see those flowers. You smell their fragrance. You enjoy the beauty of it. How more you want to possess it? How more can you have it than that? You can't have it. You can work there. You can put water and compost into the plants, but you can't have the garden. Everybody has it already. It's like possessing the sunlight or something, or the wind, or the ocean, or air. Most probably people will try to possess it also in the future, but to get some money out of it. But truly speaking, how can you possess the universe, the stars, and the beauty of the moon or something? You can't. It is already given to you by default. You are the Lord of this world, and you behave as if it is not yours. You grab this bit of land and say, okay, it's mine, I will make it perfect, and you work on it. But how can it be yours, actually? Yours, it can be only when you're free from the object of enjoyment, when you are really the Lord. Then only you can possess it. Then only you can have the beauty and the sense of that revelation of what it means. But if you depend on it, then if you are tied to it, then it creates the desire and struggle and suffering and everything else which desire brings. I was mentioning to you the shloka from the story from Mahabharata, where when the Pandavas were in the exile, and they came to one lake, and at the lake there was a spirit, and he said that you will never come out from this lake unless you answer my question. So the question was, and Yudhishthira answered it. The question was, what is that losing which you lose nothing? What is that losing which you lose nothing? And it's a very, very tough question if you start thinking what it could be that. Losing which you have to lose, you will lose nothing. And he answered, the desire. The desire is that losing which you lose nothing. Because you are the Lord of everything already. It's only the desire which makes an impression that you are not the Lord. And that impression pushes you and makes you move towards the object of enjoyment as if you depend on it. So this is a profound vision. It's deeper than it looks like, and it has really depth. If we dive into it, we will see that it is totally meaningful. So all this for habitation by the Lord, he will possess all of it eventually. That means everybody will be free here, free from the object of enjoyment, possession. So he will not be determined. And then doing here verily works, one should wish to live, want to live 100 years. And here there is another difficulty in the second line, which I didn't mention before. Evam tvae, thus in you, nan yathetosti, and not otherwise is. And then look what Sri Aurobindo does. He puts comma and dot and comma, and then action cleaves not to a man, as if he doesn't connect these two parts. And he is right, actually. Sri Aurobindo is right, because these two parts, because of this word asti, cannot be connected with ease grammatically. So, thus in you, and not otherwise than this. Thus it is in thee, and not otherwise than this. What does it really mean? Truly speaking, it's a puzzle for many, many years. I really don't have the answer yet. I had the same puzzle with the first shloka, but I kind of solved it, that you are the Lord, so to say, and by default, it belongs already to you. Why do you have to desire it? It makes no sense, But here, the second puzzle is still waiting for me to solve. And that, and this part, especially when he puts this, it's a kind of full stop. It doesn't connect to the next. It connects, but very weird way. Action nakarma lipyate nare doesn't fit into this construction, into this syntax. Thus in you and not otherwise than this. What does it mean? Thus in you and not otherwise than this. It is thus in you. It is as if all this universe is in you and not you are in the universe. It's as if like that, you know. The whole manifestation is within you and not otherwise. And not you are in the universe when you are the Lord. So it is as if you are working within yourself, not without yourself. By the way, it corresponds to what Krishna says in the Gita, that when he explains to Arjuna how this world is made in chapter number 9, he says, this world, I am in this world. And then he says, not even I am in this world. Myself is in the world, but this world is in me. And this is something difficult to comprehend. So all this world is within the Lord. You know? It's not that he is within them, so to say. He is as if working to embody himself within this world. And he is not yet there inside this bubble he created within himself. It's as if like that. And thus in you, and not otherwise than this. And karma does not stick to man. So there is something here to think of, these two lines. And this one is also very puzzling, that Atmahan, the one who kills slayers of their souls, Atmahana Janaha, who are moving into the blind darkness. Also a big question, because if we are the souls by default, how can we really destroy ourselves? It's nearly impossible. It's a big question. I don't have the answer yet. Now, today we are speaking about things we don't have answer yet. But still, it's a very nice way of thinking. It's more creative of knowledge than just having answers. How can you destroy something which is indestructible, eternal, infinite? You can't, no? As if, but here looks like you can. Soundless are those worlds, and enveloped in blind gloom, whereto all they in their passing hands resort, who are slayers of their souls. It's like a hell or something, you know, in Christian tradition. Or in Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, he speaks about the worlds of darkness, the mother of evil and the sons of darkness. There is the whole canto in the second book, which is describing the descent into that density of darkness where the soul is declared missing, not found. The density of the inconscient is so profound, so infinite, that spark of infinite spark can be, declared missing. So it's a scary place. Mother says even to read that canto is very, very scary, because that was a real experience which she had. So there are some unanswered questions, of course, about our existence. We don't know everything for sure. Our mind, of course, knows something, but it is mental knowledge only. Okay, and then there is this mentioning of the spirit, that he moves not, moves and moves not, that he is faster than the mind, it is faster than the mind, that all the devatas, all the faculties of consciousness move, trying to catch with him, and he is moving in front because he is steadily pervading all, sustaining all. He is within and without, far and near, moves and moves not. And that is exactly what provides for the Lord the possibility to connect to everything what is here in the universe manifested. It is as if his own nature allows him to manifest himself in every movement in this universe. And the one who sees all the beings in himself, and in all the beings himself, he is not shrinking from anything. He is not afraid anymore. In whom all the beings become himself. And that is what spirit is permitting to do, of the one who distinguishes all that. What kind of bewilderment or what kind of suffering can be of the one who sees the oneness? And here we stopped. Saparyagat shukram akayam avranamasnaviram shuddham apapavidham kavir manishi paribhu swayambhu yathatatyatorthan vyadadhat shashvatibhyah samabhyah. It is he, again back to he, to the Lord, that has gone abroad. This abroad, that which is bright. And now look, there is again difficulty. This Upanishad is full of grammatical difficulties. So it is he, Saparyagat, he moves abroad. He moved literally abroad. And then Shukram. Shukram means the bright one, and it is in neuter. That which is bright. What is this? What is the connection between the first sentence and second? It is he that has gone abroad, that bright, that which is bright, bodiless. That which is bright, bodiless, it is he, or it is that way he moved, or it is something else altogether. How are they connected? You see, we connect them automatically without thinking, but if we think grammatically, it's a big difficulty here. Saparyagat, literally, he went abroad, or he surrounded Shukram, the bright. So literally, if I would translate, it would be he surrounded the bright, the bodiless, without the scar of imperfection, without sinews, pure, unpierced by evil. That's what he surrounded, literally. Pari agat. Pari means around, agat went. He went abroad, or he went around. The seer, the thinker, kavich manishich, paribhuch, the one who becomes everywhere, the one who is everywhere, the self-existent, svayambhu. He has ordered vyadadhat, or he has established all over objects, arthan, perfectly, yathat, in according to their nature, yathat adhyato, from the years sempiternal, shashvatibhyah samabhyah. It's as if Rishi wants to hide something. He doesn't want to be totally clear explaining things. You know, he wants to use puzzles. Yes, Alex.
Yeah. Sempiternal. What exactly does sempiternal mean, please?
Sempiternal means eternal, infinite. From the years infinite, or from the beginning of time, we can translate. So from the beginning of time, he established all these meanings and objects. And interestingly, in Sanskrit, artha means object and also means meaning and aim. So arthan, he established those meaning objects from the beginning of time. And this is really profound for our integral paradigm of knowledge, because we were always wondering how the physical form corresponds to certain meaning, how meaning and form go together. Every form has a particular meaning because of that form, or maybe every form has a particular form because of the meaning which it has. Yeah? So they are together, and in Sanskrit it is one word, meaning and form, artha. Interesting. Object and meaning. So he established those meaning objects from the beginning of time, but he moved around or abroad of that bright, bodiless, without scarf, imperfection, sinew, pure and pierced by evil. What is that thing? Because it is neuter, and he is masculine, and it's clear in grammar that there's something going on here.
And artha is still the same word that defines as well this stage of the cursus honorum, the life of a man, foundation of the material ground.
Yes.
Is the same word still.
Yeah, Purushartha is the same. There are 4 arthas. Yes, you mean this dharma, yeah, kama, artha, and moksha. So to say, we have three Purusharthas, one of which is artha. And in that sense, artha is the wealth. So to say, you have to achieve certain objectives in your life. It may be different wealth, not only money. It can be realization of some kind. Yeah?
Because the word realization somehow can be closer to this multifold of meanings that we are talking about, because there's a form implicit in the realization because it's external. There's the aspect of wealth.
Right.
There's the thing, no, you realize something, so there is a thing.
Right, it is the thing, and it is an objective. Yeah, you have certain objectives, you have certain aims, certain purpose in life which you have to realize, and that is artha. Yes, and that has to be realized. So has to be kama realized, sexual desire has to be finished. Artha has to be realized, some objective in your life, some aim. Dharma has to be realized, the sense of righteousness, the sense of the law of existence of all beings. Look, 3 different purusharthas. And the final moksha, you have to realize the freedom that you belong to the Lord, that you are the Lord. And these are the 4 objectives, purusharthas. They are defined later in literature, of course, from 1000 AD already, but still they're quite interesting, these 4. Where kama is introduced also, the sexual desire, because before it was always discarded. Yes, it was never introduced in earlier period. But from 1000 AD it started to become very popular, especially with Kama Shastra, when Kama Shastra was already composed by Vatsyayana. Vatsyayana composed Kama Sutras, and from that time on it was introduced as a part of the objectives of human life. It's closer to our time. Before it wasn't so articulated. It was there always, but it was never articulated as an objective of life. Right. So he established all over the objectives of life, from the beginning of time. So there are these objectives which we are catching, and we are thinking, oh, my life is dedicated to this purpose, to the discovery of this, or to the, to the realization of certain qualities and so on. That is because these arthas are there, established by him. We can feel their presence and follow their order. He is the one who is self-existent, who is surrounding all, Paribhu. He is the thinker, Manishi. He is the Kavi, the seer, the poet. And he surrounded or went abroad of all these bright, bodiless, sinewless, without a scar of imperfection, pure, unpierced by sin, something. And I think many times when I think about this phrase, that this is about the spirit. Yeah? I may be wrong, but I think it is about the spirit. So he surrounds the something which is allowing him to come to in terms of embodiment in every being. Because the spirit is there, which is pure, bright, unpierced by sin. It can provide the connection, the connectivity of the Lord to everything in this world, in this manifestation. There's something about it. I am more and more thinking in terms of technologies, how actually the Lord can become, in every being embodied and see all the beings in himself and all the selves in himself and himself in all the beings. I can't imagine that it is possible in the multiplicity if there is no this spirit, which is pure, bodiless, without scarf imperfection, which provides the connectivity, you see. If that connectivity is not there, how this multitudinous can exist as the Lord? It won't work, because the multiple creation is about these scars of imperfection, of all these divisions constant. But there must be something which provides that pure contact. And that is the spirit, Brahman. And Sri Aurobindo says that the discovery of Brahman was one of the greatest realizations of Indian philosophy. That there is a spirit which pervades all, for which nothing is preferable in this world. The smallest pebble on the shore of the ocean and the huge galaxy, it is the same. In the view of the spirit, there is no preference, no difference. It's like a holographic picture or something. Everything here is a unique manifestation of the spirit. So there is no preference for small or big. That's why he is outside and inside, far and near, moves and moves not. And this is paradoxical for the mind. Mind cannot really handle these things. But that is true. Yeah.
I'm under the impression that there are so many gods and temples in India, but none for Brahman. Is this correct?
Yes. Well, that happened later, of course. And there are stories about this, why Brahman, there are no temples to Brahman anymore. And of course, Brahmanaspati or Brihaspati became Ganapati. And he was Ganapati in the Veda. But Ganapati became Ganesha, son of Shiva. And there are many temples to Ganesha. Too many. 1/3 of temples in India are to the Ganesha himself. So if we consider that development to be a part of Brihaspati or Brahman, then of course we can say that there is some tradition just shifted away into some. And of course there is a legend in the myth in the Puranas where Brahman, though it is the divine word, the Lord of the divine word, he lied. He lied to Shiva. Shiva asked him, can you see the end of my Shiva Lingam? Shiva Lingam is the power which pervades and holds the universe. It's kind of a pivot, around which everything rotates and lives. So he, on his swan, he went up and up and up to the heights, and then he returned and he said, I saw the end of Shiva Lingam. And that was a mistake to say to Shiva. Shiva got very offended and he cursed him that from now on you will never be worshipped anywhere. And from that time on he lost all his power. Because how can you, the Lord of the Divine Word, lie, about such a thing as the pivot of the universe? So anyhow, that's a little funny story, but still, there's some truth in it, most probably symbolically hidden, about loss of this power of Brahman. There are many interesting things about Brahmanaspati or Brihaspati. He is the Jupiter, the guru, the teacher of the gods. And there is something about Shiva. Shiva is always in favor not only of the gods, not only to the gods, but also to the asuras. He supports them. He does not make the distinction between them big, if they are both working for the manifestation of the divine. So he is not kind of condemning asuras and promoting gods. He is not. And in that sense, he favors many ascetics and so on who got the invincibility and power, such as Ravana and others, from Shiva. And they kind of created a lot of problems for the gods. Actually, gods had always trouble with those boons of Shiva. And he favored also Shukracharya. Shukracharya was given actually the greatest support of Shiva. And Shukracharya is the teacher of the Asuras. So Venus, the teacher of the Asuras, and Brihaspati, the teacher of the gods. Jupiter and Venus. Look at these two great beings. Something is very interesting going on there. Yeah? And Venus has some relation to the universe through soma, through enjoyment, sensual enjoyment. Yeah, that's why all these venereal diseases and Venus means something to do with sexuality and enjoyment and music and art and all those things which bring joy to the vital and mental and physical nature. Whereas Guru Brihaspati is very severe with those things. He is only for dharma, for knowledge, for realization of higher kind. He's Guru of the gods. And he represents actually the light of the sun, Brihaspati. So in a way, there is one light of the sun, the solar system, so to say, the Devayana, the path of the gods, and there is Pitriyana, the path of the Pitris, where they have to manage this universe and to procreate. One is moon calendar, Pitris, another is sun calendar. There are two calendars. Very interestingly, moon and sun and their relations. Moon is presiding over the nakshatras, big cosmos, and the moon is actually in the hair of Shiva. Notice, Shiva favors moon, not the sun. And the solar system from another side, with all the grahas, where we are dwelling as the souls, and we cannot come out from this solar system. It's interesting because the last graha is Shani, the Saturn. Saturn started to change its color nowadays. It's something very interesting going on Most probably we will have some interesting shifts in our solar system. So solar system is like a bubble in which our souls are safe. On Earth, moon is magnifying connection to the bigger cosmos, but the solar system holds us within. So from planet to planet, we can get a lot of material necessary for our soul development. But for the nature, the nakshatras and the moon are responsible for the changes in nature. And we are both. We are the nature and the soul. Of course, we are more nature than the soul nowadays because we are not aware of our soul much. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say? That these two are there? It's a profound vision of these two. Right. We are always discussing this. I have Jyotishis from several groups from US, and they are very thrilled. We read a lot of literature with them. Now we are reading Phaladipika and dive into every definition of grahas and rashis and nakshatras. And that is really amazing because behind nakshatras there are devatas, there are cosmic devatas who are interested in our experience, in our personal experience, what we get here on Earth. And then when we move, when we die and go on Pitriyana way, we move to the moon. And on the moon, these devatas, which invested into our development, because we got everything from them. We got our bodies from them, our physical elements, our vital elements, our mental elements, our characters from them, our diseases from them, our health from them. We got everything from them. Our success, our failure, they invested into us. Everything, the nakshatras, the devatas, the bigger cosmos. Now, when we are dying, we are going to the moon, and on the moon, symbolically, they meet us. And they eat everything which we got during our experience on Earth. They eat until they eat everything what we had. And then, empty of it, we fall back on Earth and start again collecting the experiences. What kind of experiences we're collecting? Who are we really? And we are the souls of the solar system. We came from the sun. We didn't come from the moon. We came from the sun. And that ray of the sun creates a very unique perception. It's the ray of the Lord. That's why we are the Lord. And his perception of all what is happening here is unique, and it creates this delight, soma, which they are interested in. Because only through us they can really change. They can't change otherwise, they are typal beings. And through us, through this soma which we acquire during lifetime, they can get the idea how the Lord views these things, how he enjoys these things. It's a very interesting view. So they are eating our experience, growing by this, and that was the sacrifice. That's how we change the cosmos, by our constant involvement with these matters and feeding with those experiences the devatas of the cosmos.
Do you remember that Mother said that in the agenda, I think, the Chinese are coming from the moon?
Say it again?
Maybe I can.
Shani?
Mother said that the Chinese,
yes,
are coming from the moon.
Right. It's another race. It's a very interesting statement. Just thought about it. Didn't want to mention it because it's kind of difficult to speak about this, but true. There was a race which was typal race, which didn't have the psychic being, came from the moon. Mother jokes about it in agenda. She says, oh, it's a joke, but she would not say it if it would not be totally true. Something should be true there. Yeah? She would not mention it. There is something, and she continues, she explains what it is. She says they do not have that sensitivity, psychic. They didn't have psychic being. But living long on earth, they acquired it. Acquired. That's what they were looking for. It's in the same way as the devatas, the typal devatas, are looking for this experience within ourselves. They want that thing, that psychic experience, that soma, that ambrosia, that immortality within the nature. They're looking for that enjoyment. And that is for them the food which is beyond any other food. Because it creates within them some appreciation of the Lord. Through that, they can transform. They can get some glimpses of their own divine nature, which they lost with the fall. Now they can reconstruct or redeem their nature. We are here for the redemption of their own fallen nature. And that is the way how it is done. And in the Vedic tradition, the Soma Yagas, the Soma sacrifices, were the major sacrifices. So we extract the experience of that divine enjoyment and offer that ambrosia to the gods. They have to eat it, but only we can extract it. They cannot extract it, because we are the representatives of the Lord. And that is interesting. And Mother speaks about it quite in many places. There is a very beautiful booklet which is called The Psychic Being. I would recommend you to look into it. If you have it, and somebody may have it. Yeah? Did you read The Psychic Being? All the quotations from the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. There is a profound explanation of that, what our psychic being is, what a unique being. And the whole earth, it seems, is a psychic being of the universe. That's why the moon is there, moon which is very strange being also, rotating around all the time, making this wobble. You know, it makes all the time something move on earth. There are ocean going up and down. The whole blood pressure goes up and down. See, it doesn't let us be statically. It always works on us. And at the same time, it amplifies the influences from the bigger cosmos, from the nakshatras, from that, galaxy or that universe. Those devatas which are looking through that moon onto us as magnifying glass, and this wobbling going on with the cosmos. And cosmos is, if we can imagine the gravitational pull is immense in cosmos. We don't even realize that. If you think about Dhruvam, or the polar star, our Earth is rotating in this tilted way because the polar star is here. It doesn't go away. It rotates in this way all the time because the polar star is pulling it. It does not let it go. Polar star somewhere, God knows where. It's not the sun. And I've recently realized that the sun is also like that. And all the planets are like that because the Dhruva pulls all of them. My God, that Dhruva pulls everyone like that? So we don't realize what is really going on in terms of gravitational pull and all this wobbling. And everyone who moves through the positioning of ourselves is doing something to us being born in that moment of time, because we are facing those gravitational pulls and those wobblings. And of course, it's an impressive, creation, dynamically working and allowing things to change through us, of course, who are here for this sacrificial purpose. We came here for this work, to bring back the self-awareness of the divine in these typal beings which lost the connection with the divine. And that is called the sacrifice.
Excuse me, Vladimir, just to clarify to me, at the beginning you were talking about Brahma, rather related to a Jupiter figure and to the sun, and Venus rather related to moon, and Venus or correspondent goddess to Venus related to moon, and teacher of the Asuras.
Right.
So somehow the planets, which are also the gods, as we know, as well from other pantheons, would be related to Asuras?
Right, and that is very interesting about the planets, that there are two planets which are totally in the charge of this development, of the sacrificial development, that is Shukracharya of Venus and Moon. Look, the beauty of the whole planet system is that there are three major planets. That is Earth, on which everything takes place. There is Sun and Moon. Yeah? Moon shows us the path of the Pitriyana, that means of the change of our nature, and Sun is the change of our soul. So we have two hands. One hand, right hand, shows to the south when we face the east. That is the Pitriyana. We move the way of our ancestors. Ancestors live through us, they grow through us. And the other, it's our own path of the soul, Devayana, where our soul has to grow and to become free, to become the Lord. Now, these two are combined on earth into something which we know as ourselves, embodied. Yeah? We have a body, which is Pitriyana, and we have the soul, which is Devayana, within us. Both realities are here. Three planets. The Earth is never mentioned because everything happens on Earth. So let us look at this. Sunday, Monday, and it's funny because Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are everywhere the same. Even as if they agreed from before that this has to be the order of the days. So the first is Sunday, then Monday, then Tuesday. Tuesday is the Mars, then Mercury, and then two planets, and then Shani, the Brihaspati, Venus, and finally Saturn. But what is interesting, that these three planets, Mars is the child of Earth, Mercury is a child of Moon, and Shani is a child of the Sun. So there are three planets, major, Sun, Moon, and Earth, which have three children. Yeah? That is Mars, Mercury, and Saturn. And we have two planets which are nobody's children. That is Brihaspati, the teacher of the gods, and Shukracharya, or Venus, the teacher of the Asuras. Just think about it. Nobody's children. There are two planets. They are by themselves. The Brihaspati and Shukracharya. And by the way, Brihaspati and Shukracharya are rivalries. They are always fighting. It's kind of interesting. Angiras are rishis and Bhrigu rishis. Shukracharya is called Bhargava, and actually he is from Bhrigu dynasty of rishis, which are older than Angirasa. Angirasa rishis came later, and they belong to Brihaspati. Brihaspati, the solar, so to say, deity, the involvement of the soul, was later in a period of development. The first creation of the Shukracharya, of the Asuras, they are called the older brothers of the gods, because they were here from the beginning, and the gods came later. And the same with Angirasa rishis, who are representing Brihaspati. They came later, and they are mentioned in the Rig Veda as modern rishis. And there are also always mentioned these ancient rishis, Purva Rishaya, which are Bhargavas, which belong to Bhrigu dynasty. And these Bhrigu dynasty rishis, they were making sacrifice differently than Angirasa rishis did. I do not know whether it is interesting and appropriate now to speak, but since we already went that way, you asked about the difference between Brihaspati and Shukracharya, between the Jupiter and Venus. Then I will just few words say. There are two major cults which are known in esoteric history. One is the cult of the nature, what we call Shiva Lingam or Kundalini Shakti, or that procreatory power of nature. And there is another cult, which is the cult of the love of the soul to the divine, which is coming from the heart. There are two major energies in our body. One is the sexual drive, which is rising from below, a natural power. And there is another drive, which is coming from the soul, psychic being, from the heart. And Mother says that between these two powers, there is an abyss. There is a total disconnection. They are as if from two different sources. So the psychic being came later in the evolution of consciousness. It is a recent phenomenon. The body, the Bhargavas, they were here from before, and they were making sacrifice of nature. All these known to us, all these sacrifices known to us as Purusha Medha, sacrifice of body, of man, or animal sacrifices of the bodies to the gods, was nothing but the old way of giving your own nature for the transformation to the devatas, to the divine powers, that they have to come, partake of it, eat it, and change something, or realize your desire, or something. But somebody asked the mother, did rishis know about the psychic being in the Rig Veda? And she says, no, they didn't know about it, but they discovered it. So the discovery took place over time, and these became Angirasa rishis. They discovered the divine presence in the heart. Before, they didn't know about that. They tried to reach to the divine perfection through the means by nature, this Babylonian tower, Babel tower. To rise to heaven by your own means, to come and to shoot your arrow into the heaven and to receive the answer, of course. But still, the funny thing that to go by your own power, by the Kundalini, by this rising of the phallic symbols, yes, of the procreation in nature, was used as the means of achieving a higher consciousness. That is the ancient way of the sacrifice. And the new way was from the heart. There is a very interesting, very well known story in the Bible, where Abraham wants to sacrifice his son. He tied him to the stone, and he is ready to already kill him, to kill his own son with a knife for the god, as he was demanded. Then he hears the voice, which says, I don't need the body of your son. You bring me a lamb, pure white. What is this lamb, pure white? It is the symbol of the psychic being. It's enough of sacrificing the old way of your nature. Now you can sacrifice to me through your soul, through your love, devotion, which is coming from the heart. This was the shift from one cult to another. It's a very significant myth of the shift of the cult.
It's very interesting because there is a very mysterious book by Soren Kierkegaard, which is all about Abraham's sacrifice and tremor and trembling, I think in English. And the story of Abraham is repeated so many times, and in between two versions, there is another story which is constantly repeated, which is the moment when the mother stopped breastfeeding the child, severed the child. So seems pretty much connected with this Venus paradigm that you were talking about, and somehow end of this breastfeeding as symbol of this perpetration of a life force.
Interesting. Yes, it's something about our nature, which is we are ancient and we are new. We have the soul and we have the nature. Our nature demands one set of things, the enjoyments of Venus. Our soul wants something else, looking for the higher knowledge and consciousness. And they are in total and constant contradiction. Did you notice that we are in constant contradiction between what is to be done and how it is to be done? And this is selfish and that is selfless. We are fighting with this selfishness and selflessness all the time, non-stop. Every single thought is about these two energies. How to reconcile between our nature and our soul.
And somehow, so all the devatas are related to this old.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is those gods to which we sacrificed always. They share with us all our nature, all our bodies, mental, vital, and physical bodies. We receive from them. We receive from them all the blessings, all the gifts. They can give us whatever we want. Even moreover.
And that's why the overmind is a lower level.
Right. But it is always fulfilling the desired of this selfish being here. And that's why it is Asuric in a way, because Asuras are about satisfaction of desires, of this selfishness. What is interesting about what I wanted to say, I even understood why they were making these animal sacrifices. You see, if the devatas are totally in control of our life, can you imagine? We are like puppets on the string puppets. Yeah? They are the fingers which are manipulating our moves. We received everything from them in our nature, in our mental, vital, and physical nature. Everything. There's nothing we have of our own here. Yeah? Except the soul, which we do not know what it is, very far away from us, from this, what we got around it. Yeah? What we got around it, we know what it is, but the rest. And you can imagine that everything is already pre-organized, previsioned, understood by them that what will follow, what we call destiny or fate, because the fate is written already on the hand. It is written already on in our subtle Akashic record somewhere. We can read our fate. We know what is expected, and the whole tradition speaks about it because of these devatas. When we are born in the moment of time, they contribute to that particular development certain energies or certain predictions or certain predicaments which we follow. Now, in order to receive your own desire, for example, I want something which goes beyond this puppet show. I want something to have of my own. How would I achieve it? I will have to feed them a very big boost of energy, of some experience of the body, of the vital and mind, strong lust, that they will be satisfied and will lose for a moment that tight grip and will allow my small desire to sneak in and to be realized. They can grant my own personal wish. If I let them be satisfied, because they all the time connect to me and to my experience. They want to get what I get, but I will give them extra boost, yeah? That they would, in that moment of time, can allow the gap of my personal wish. I don't forget in one Greek story, some Spartans, or he sacrificed his son to the Poseidon in order to get a right wind to go to fight with the other guys. For the right wind, he killed his own son. You can just think for a second what he wants. He wants something which is not in accordance to this puppet show. Yeah? He wants something extra. And for that, he has to give extra. This is the mentality of the ancient way of sacrificing, to get your desires realized. This is Asuric way of doing things. And then the gods come, the Angirasa rishis, the soul, and it is totally different view. You know? It has nothing to do with my desire. The soul wants only one. May your will be done. So it is a totally different view. And these two are contradictory within our being. From one side, we want everything for our lower members, for our mental, vital, and physical satisfaction. That is the old way. And from another side, we don't want nothing of this. We want only him to grow and to become stronger. That love, that unconditional presence of the peace and joy, and that's what we want. And how to reconcile between these two? We are all the time bumping from one end to another. Is it not so? Anyhow, I took already more time, I think, yeah? Sorry. Just let me see, because, yes. I will stop here. Only one shloka, but no, it's no problem, yeah? That we did only one small shloka because we overviewed the whole cosmos of two major cults, which are important to see, the Devayana and Pitriyana.
And it's All Saints today, so somehow maybe connected.
Say it again?
It's All Saints today.
Okay, all right. And there was this Diwali yesterday, so here is nobody, only me alone in the whole campus. Everybody left, only I'm enjoying being alone. So nice to be alone in the whole university. You walk, and there's nobody. So lovely. All right, we will close with a mantra. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yeah.